Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Bill Landis, and Austin Ward has been kind enough to hand over his baby to me. We're bringing you a second BuckIQ this week. I hope you guys had an opportunity to catch Austin and Zach Bourne breaking down some big-time plays from Tanner McAllister in the win against Wisconsin. But listen, that was a big game for the offensive line as well, so we need to talk about that, break down some plays. We brought on the former Ohio State offensive tackle, Reid Fragel. Reid, how you doing?
Good, Bill. Thanks for having me on today. It's been a while since we've done a BuckIQ on the offensive line, so there's no better game than I think this past game to start it off with.
Absolutely. It was one of their better games, I thought. We're going to look at some plays here in a little bit, but before we do that, just kind of wanted to pick your brain on a few things. I guess just more generally, sort of 4 games into this, how do you feel like the offensive line's played to this point?
Well, I think they've definitely improved dramatically since that first week against Notre Dame, which is what you want to see. I think they're doing it at a pace that is faster than maybe I expected. So I think Coach Fry is doing a phenomenal job with these guys. As you'll see in some of these clips we're going to go over today, I believe just some of the stunts they're picking up, the tenacity that they're playing with, getting to second level, provides some incredible gaps for Henderson and Mayan to hit. So I'm excited to cover those today.
When you thought, I guess, in the offseason, like we were all curious, right, about how this offensive line might improve, what were some of the areas I guess you were hopeful to see them take steps forward in, and have you seen that to this point?
Well, I think, like I said, picking up those stunts, those are always kind of, I guess, you're kind of weary on those at the college level, not so much the NFL, but they're picking them up as if they're an offensive line in the NFL, I think, in week 4 here. So I still have some concerns, I guess, with the second, the 2s and 3s, I think. I don't know how much we're going to see of them. Hopefully not have to see too much. But I think just that's been the concern going into the season was the depth. And I think that's something that we're not used to at the offensive line. We're used to having guys that can come in and plug in wherever they may need to play. So I think that would be my only concern. But they've just, again, to pick up these stunts and to be able to match the defense, what they're bringing, I think has been pretty surprising this far. And I was curious how Coach Fry would handle some things. I think he's doing a great job, though.
Yeah, that depth, I think, is still a concern of Ryan Day's as well. As you said, we've not had to see them dip into it too much yet. It would be interesting to see, I guess, how they shuffle some pieces around there, particularly on the interior, if they ever had to. But I guess, knock on wood, that they don't have to. That starting 5 is playing really well right now. Justin Fry is an assistant coach we've not talked a ton about. We've talked a lot about Jim Knowles, the new defensive assistants, and the impact that they've had. But what have you seen or observed, I guess, from Justin Fry's impact on this group as he's gotten them ready to play at a really high level?
Well, I can tell, early on in the spring practices I went to, the kids really, I shouldn't say kids, these are grown men, but the guys are really, they're seeing what he's saying, they're listening. You can just tell by their body language and how he's coaching them that they're buying into what he's telling them. I think there might be some question marks when a new guy comes in, how the guys are going to receive him. And that can be a big drop off where he can pick it up and run with it. I think that's exactly what he's done. And I think the guys are really buying into how animated he is as a coach. And I think just that first spring practice when I went and saw him, I think the way that he connected with the players, and if you're able to do that in a locker room at any position coach level, I think that's a huge win as a coach, and the guys will be behind you.
So I think all 5 of these guys that we're going to look at here are all playing well. Is there any individual that's kind of caught your eye with his play through 4 games so far up front?
I think Paris Johnson, without a doubt, is just playing lights out. So that left side there, I think, is playing maybe a touch better than the right side, but I think across the board they're playing pretty damn good. But specifically speaking, Paris Johnson, the way he's picking up these stunts and communicating with Donovan Jackson, I think it's been pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, we have one of those clips of Paris and pass protection we're going to look at here in a minute. But first, we're going to look at a couple of the run plays from the Wisconsin game. Let's get into it, Reid. Let's roll some tape.
Sounds good.
All right, Reid, the first play we're looking at here is a first quarter run from Trevion Henderson. This goes for 16 yards. It's kind of a split zone play, kind of the bread and butter run play here for Ohio State. Get cased over here, the tight end blocking back across the formation. But tell me about what you see from these guys up front as they're able to spring Trey here for a big game.
Well, I think you're looking at the center and left guard there. They're in complete control of this play, whether it succeeds or fails. The backside, all they have to really do is cut off those guys from the second level, which you do see some slippage there under Dwan there. But the hole that you're going to see develop from the center left guard Luke and Donovan have just done a phenomenal job creating such a wide hole to where he's able to kind of get around that slippage that you're seeing from the backside. And then Luke does a phenomenal job climbing up the second level to seal it off. And that's just a textbook play right there.
So I'm curious about DeJuan Jones on this play, the right tackle here at the top of the screen. When a guy does kind of get inside of your inside shoulder the way that this defensive lineman does here, what's the goal then of the tackle just to make sure that that guy doesn't blow up the play?
Well, your guard has to kind of give you a little bit firmer of a right hand there, I would say, by Jones, but by Matthew Jones. But DeJuan's got to put himself in a better position to be able to get underneath that guy and take that over as he climbs to the second level, the right guard that is. So he's kind of positioned himself. To be honest, it looks like he's positioned like it's going outside of him.
Yeah.
On a front side block, but I don't know if he just was expecting more from the right guard there. But he's attacking this at an angle that, again, I think he might have been a little bit confused maybe in how he was supposed to attack this guy, but he should be having his helmet on the other side of that defensive end's helmet to prevent this leakage backside.
But I agree. It does look like maybe it's a little miscommunication there. But the thing that I did like about this is that even though there is a little bit of a mix up here, DeJuan still finds a way to get this guy on the ground. And I don't know, maybe some people might say you got away with a little something. I don't know. I just think that's brute strength there, knocking that guy to the ground. But you can correct me if I'm wrong.
When you're 360, 370 pounds, I mean, all you got to do is land the guy sometimes at an angle. I will say I was watching this in live and somebody says, "Oh, DeJuan got a pancake there." I was like, I don't know if I'd call it a pancake play, but he got the job done well enough. And then the front side, obviously just doing a textbook job to where this play can go for 16.
Yeah, the beauty of this play, I think, is on that left side there. Also want to shout out Julian Fleming, the receiver, who's got that block on number 13. But I guess tell me a little more about the combo you see here with Luke Whippler and Donovan Jackson to work on that tackle and then for Luke to get up to the second level.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite blocks. I mean, from a tackle standpoint, working with a guard, anytime you're in a combo block front side, though, to have that kind of chemistry, to feel the hip to hip and climb, that's something you strive for. And I think that's what they're doing a great job of here. You'll notice a little bit of a lift by Luke on his left hand. And you see 95, I believe, kind of his feet hop a little bit. That's the feeling you got him, is when their both feet come off the ground to kind of stop, try to catch themselves, almost like a tackle would in pass pro. That's when you got them. And that's what you see 95 struggle with there, is that combo block, having two guys on them like that. That's textbook.
And obviously some really good power there for Paris Johnson at left tackle. This play read, just, kind of run and stretch or a variation of stretch or wide zone into the boundary has I think probably been Ohio State's most effective running play so far this season. Is there anything about that play that you've noticed or this group of players and their skill set in particular that just makes that such a good match and why this play has hit for so many yards?
Well, they're an athletic group of offensive linemen. So I think even like the mistakes that are made, like backside here, for example, like we were just talking about, they're athletic enough. You put them in a position to make a play that they're going to make a play. Whether that be a backside cut that the running back has to make to change course. But typically, more often than not, you're seeing these kind of combination blocks to second level, and Luke's doing a phenomenal job getting second level with some sound feet, able to get enough of a punch on the guy to let Henderson do his work and do his magic. But I think just in general, zone's it's a basic run play, but if you're athletic enough in the offensive line and strong enough to get that push, you're going to get these fast backs out there and they're going to be able to make some plays.
So let's look at another one here. We'll let this one run a little bit. The next one, it's funny. I'm pulling plays from the first quarter, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I should go deeper in the game, but this thing was over by the end of the first quarter. So I guess it makes sense to kind of pull plays from early in the game. This next one here is similar. It's out of the pistol again. It's not a split zone run. It's more of just a basic stretch with everybody blocking to the left here. This is Mayan Williams in the game. This play goes for 14 yards. And Reid, the thing that stuck out to me on this play in particular was the work of both guards here to kind of get these interior guys turned away from the running back. But why don't you tell me what you see as this play develops here?
It's a good point out there. My eyes kind of immediately, I don't know if it's the former tight end in me coming out, but Cade Stover, who had a hell of a game, my eyes immediately go to him and Paris Johnson here on the front side, working that combo block with the tight end tackle. But again, to your point, the inside, their interior, they've been sound getting the second level. You're seeing Luke again, I believe, get to the second level there and prevent those linebackers from even having a chance at making a play on this. So I mean, across the board here, you got a perfect play. Paris does a phenomenal job of checking the tight end. The tight end's Cade's not even giving him anything to get a hand on because he's dominating that guy. So he feels that, climbs immediately up to the linebacker who's crashing down. And then Mayan does a phenomenal job cutting off of that and seeing that develop. And overall, I think you're just seeing some chemistry come together with this offensive line unit. That's exciting to watch.
So I want to go quickly just back to the beginning of this play because something happens here with the defensive lineman that I kind of want to get your read on. So right before the ball snapped, you'll see both of these interior guys here kind of stem late. They jump over to their right one gap.
Yep.
When that happens, what's the communication like up front? What needs to be identified, I guess, to make sure that those guys are handled, even though they're now in a different spot than they were pre-snap?
Well, that's the stuff I'm talking about before when you asked what improvements they're making. I think this is probably not communicated, if at all, verbally. It's just something that you have to pick up as a guard center comboing up to the second level. You know you're still working off that same guy, but you're going to have to work it a little bit differently. And now on the left side there, you're seeing in front of Donovan Jackson there, he's got to take that guy on solo now to where maybe pre-snap before that he thought he might have had a little bit of help. So all this stuff that they're picking up in a matter of a second without even verbalizing it, I'm assuming, is stuff that is later season that I would expect them to start doing. But again, this group of guys is picking up on stuff pretty quickly here, and it's going to be fun to see what they're picking up on late in the season when these defenses start having to get really creative to try to mess with them.
So I let this play run a little bit longer because I want to show the end. You were talking earlier about the energy that Justin Fry brings to the table, and that guy down the bottom in the green shirt there, that's Justin Fry. And look how juiced he gets after this play ends. I think that speaks to what you were talking about earlier with his energy.
Yep, and guys can feed off of that. So I think you're seeing a little bit different of an offensive line unit this year because of that energy right there.
All right, let's wind it up here with a pass protection play from Paris Johnson that we were discussing earlier. So this is a completion to Emeka Egbuka. He's down here in the slot to the left, and it's CJ connecting with Egbuka. It's a good throw. He's a great receiver. I don't care about any of that. I want to talk about the offensive line on this play and what Paris Johnson does. So I thought Wisconsin did a little bit of this. They didn't blitz a ton, but I felt like there were times they would send three and then send a fourth late. So you see at the second level here on the right, the linebacker kind of coming late. And tell me what you see here, Reid, as Donovan Jackson, 74, and Paris Johnson, 77, kind of work together on that initial lineman, and then Paris picks up the guy coming in late.
So they know they're responsible for those two off the edge should they come. If not, you're going to see Luke maybe help the guard center on the other side late. But obviously the linebacker does come. Paris picks this up beautifully. I mean, he looks like an offensive lineman in the NFL. They're picking this up. Gives a right hand. He's able to open it up his hip and pick up that looping linebacker coming around. And he's athletic enough to ride him around the edge. But again, this stuff for me is exciting to see, especially from this angle, watching it from the side at the game. I could kind of sense what they were doing, but it's easier to see it from this angle, which I love. But doing a phenomenal job, just communication. They give a go call here usually for a guy to switch off, so that'll indicate that the tackle comes off to pick up the linebacker, and the guard is good on his man. So that's just a textbook pickup right there of a stunt.
When you're Paris in this position, what are you trying to do with your hands here to make sure that this guy, isn't able to cut that rush inside and actually get to CJ?
You're trying to, as far as the first defensive lineman pinching in on him.
No. When the second guy comes through here, it looks to me like Paris gets that right hand kind of in his armpit or right under his shoulder maybe and kind of tips him over. Is that more or less what you're trying to do in a situation like that?
Yeah, that's ideal. I mean, his handwork here from start to finish. I mean, even checking. That's kind of something that develops as a habit is just checking with your hands, making sure that your guard is sound, and then coming off that and obviously be able to deliver a punch. You can't get yourself in trouble by having your hands where they don't need to be. So he's able to get away with it here and athletic enough to fire off a punch after checking his man down. But that's ideal right there to get under that armpit and kind of drive the guy by. I mean, once your upper body's doing this, you're kind of screwed as far as getting a sound, powerful rush on the tackle.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell there he's kind of when it gets to about to this point, I think this guy knows it's over. He's just about to fall over and
oh yeah,
Good job by CJ there too. I think to hang in against them. I'm not sure most quarterbacks would do that, but as you said, Paris is playing really well. The whole group's playing well. We'll see if they can keep it rolling. They play Rutgers on Saturday. It's a 3:30 kick in Ohio Stadium. We'll have plenty of coverage here on the podcast and at ohiostate.rivals.com. Reid, we appreciate your insight. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thanks, Bill.